It is 9 o'clock somewhere, so it must be time to record a show. Equally, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, did you know, Shane?
I knew Shane.
Is it Newfoundland? I struggle with putting the stress. No, it's stress on the last syllable. Don't throw me.
Newfoundland.
In Canada, pronounced Canada, they have a half hour's difference from their neighbouring state. They're just being awkward, surely.
Yeah, but I mean, there's not a lot to do there, is there, other than go? You're half an hour late, eh?
That sounded Jamaican Canadian to me.
Well, it's all on the same meridian.
You'll be on Meridian next if you're not careful. Anyway, I'm Adrian Lacey. I'm in the southeast of England. He, as you've gathered, is Shane O'Connor in the Midlands of England. Collectively, we are, well, we're not collective at all. We're two very strong-willed, hot-headed, bald-headed individuals who can't do team play, but somehow we've ended up under the same roof as the comedy Slab, which is, for the benefit of new listeners, it is a notional marble slab on which we put and prod a different comedy each week, be it TV, radio, or podcast, internet, digital, you name it. This week, it's Motherland. That's Motherland. A BBC... do you know, these days, I never know which channel these go out on. I think BBC One. I could be wrong. Probably BBC Two. Two. Same to you. And I can see him via Skype. And trust me, there is nothing to envy me sitting in this seat here. So BBC Two. All right, I was going to say BBC iPlayer. It's not there for long if you're listening to this show or pretty close to, I was going to say transmission. What a very old concept that is. Dropping, I think, is the term the kids use. Anyway, as we speak, and there will be a couple of days before we get this to you, at least. So there's only about a week or so left on the iPlayer to catch up and see Motherland. Series 1, Episode 2. Going to talk about that in just a mo. A couple of things ahead of that, a comedy news item. But before even that, I think we each want to throw in a story from the week, don't we?
Well, mine's only a quick one because these arrived today, and I just want your opinion on this because my wife is giving me some stick about them. But I don't know if I've crossed the Rubicon here.
I thought it was going to be an item of underwear for a moment. You have. Do you want to describe it to the listening millions?
Well, shall I tell you what my wife calls them? She calls them my old man slippers.
Well, she calls you. I mean, my old man.
Slippers aren't very rock and roll anyway, are they? But
They never were.
These are kind of, they're Dunlop, so they're good quality. But these are kind of like a.
That's what elderly people say. Oh, they're Dunlops, but my, are they good quality?
Oh, I have to say, I did buy them on the internet. I didn't get them from a catalogue that came through the door with all various aids that you can wee in and help you stand up and all that kind of thing. So they're not old men slippers in that sense of the word. But
well, that's not remotely patronising to any of our listeners, whatever age they may be. But carry on.
Well, no, the last pair of slippers I had, I weed in them, and they use them to help me stand up. So,
Okay, I take it all back. Don't I look silly now?
It's swings and swings, isn't it? Really.
I think you put the sin into moccasin. Except,
yeah,
you put the mockers on moccasins. I'm not sure.
Do you think slippers maketh the man? Then, I mean, do you think if I wear old man slippers, I therefore become an old man? Is that the way that it works?
Well, it's like I think, therefore I am. I wear slippers, therefore I am old. Yeah. Having said that, I was obviously prematurely old because I've been wearing slippers ever since I can remember.
That's okay then. It's just all it was. Yeah. In the week, I saw a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger and I thought, I bet he doesn't wear Dunlop velour slippers. Do you know what I mean? And he's older than me.
He doesn't in the photos, but they might have to airbrush them out. You never know.
Never see his feet, do you, in those action
movies? You don't. He might have a foot double anyway.
In fact, when he was terminated, he said that, I need your boots and your motorcycle. And they never showed his feet, did they?
They did. They showed the motorcycle. But
he needed the boots because he was wearing Dunlop velour slippers, that's why.
Velour.
Anyway.
I am an officer of velour.
Yeah. Over to you, matron.
Okay, well, that's your story from the week. I was trying to do a clear out because I'm trying to clear the very room I'm in, which I'm trying to convert into some sort of space.
Well, step outside then. What's the matter with you?
Well, me and half a ton of assorted rubbish with me. But I did that fatal thing. You know what you should never do? Is look in any kind of detail at the things you are pretty sure you can chuck out.
Yeah.
Don't look at them. Just chuck them out.
Yeah.
I saw something labelled, and this references something we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. I need to explain for any new listeners again. Sorry, Alison. I was an announcer on a channel I have never met any viewers from or of to, called Carlton World. This was in the white heat of the technological revolution that was multi-channel, as we called it in them days.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was part of the Carlton brand. ITV Digital it became, and then they spent too much money on football rights, and then we got Freeview. Make of that what you will, but make of this what you will. I was about to throw away my scripts. I thought, why would you possibly need scripts from 20 years ago for a channel that hasn't existed for 20 years? And also, by the by, this was broadcast on December the 30th, 1999.
Wow.
So it's 2 days away from the millennium. Let's hope it rises to the occasion, eh?
Go on.
So there's something called a hold or a next, which is literally just the announcement. You'll know if you're, certainly in the UK, if you're a viewer and you're familiar with announcers, just before the adverts on a commercial channel, obviously, is what's coming up afterwards. It's called a hold because you want to hold the viewers over the break because you want them to watch the adverts and buy all the little goodies. So here we go. This is what I wrote and what I recorded, December the 30th, 1999. Coming up on Carlton World, the Bible story of Jonah, who you may know ended up in the belly of a big fish. That's except for viewers in Wales. Hey, go and laugh! Hey, 20 years on.
That is top continuity. Top continuity.
Top continuity.
Kiss my face. I love that.
Thank you so much for laughing. We haven't rehearsed this
that is,
or laid on any extra laughter.
Do you know? And the really sad thing is that you don't get that in continuity anymore.
I thought you were going to say the really sad thing is you got paid for that.
No.
Because people do proper jobs.
You see, I'd listen to that. I would watch that. I'd be watching the channel, and I'd tell people about that. I'd go, "Oh, you never guess what the continuity guy said on there." I was watching the channel the other night, and he said, "That's." To me, that's part of what that's what I grew up with, is that they'd make little jokes and puns and things like that. Do you know what I mean? They don't do it anymore. Yeah. Incredible.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. We haven't got much time for comedy news, but you wanted to highlight something we found on comedy.co.uk.
It was a quick one, really. And sorry, I've just seen a name in the runners up that I thought I knew, actually, that I work with. There was in the comedy.co.uk website, the British Comedy Guide, they were just mentioning that the Leicester Mercury Comedian of the Year finalist 2021, that's taking place. And I just kind of thought, is that the best way to introduce new comedy and to judge who the flavour of the week is going to be for, well, the flavour of the year, I suppose, isn't it? Because then they'll look at the following one.
Isn't it like, I don't know, book awards or whatever? It's just to raise profile, to generate some interest, generate some press. I think all of those things are legit because, especially comedians starting out in their careers, how else are they going to get any traction if they can't get the sort of publicity early on? Obviously, there's more ways open to them now with social media and so on. But it doesn't do any harm, does it?
No, I've just seen another name of somebody I used to work with as well. Incredible.
Are you sure it's them? Who was that then?
Well, it's a guy called Johnny Kinch, who was a runner-up in 1998, who I worked with in Derby. And a guy called Adam Buss, and I think he now works also in Derby, but he works for one of the theatres in Derby.
Okay.
So it's quite interesting, isn't it, who the names that you see there and people, what they've done previously.
I can't see where you're finding that, though. We're supposedly looking at the same article on, as I say, comedy.co.uk.
But I'm like HP, you see. I have my sources.
Oh, I see.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, actually, that says some of the names. But
you see?
It is like a who's who of comedy, isn't it, when you go through the list and that. And
you could have mentioned more. You didn't mention Jimmy Carr, I don't think. Did you mention Jason Manford?
Yes, Manford, yeah.
Yeah, and we've slabbed at least one comedy with Ramesh Ranganathan in.
What did you see? Did you see the year he won it, 2013? Ramesh Ranganathan, and the runners-up were Lucy Beaumont, Jamie Demetriou, and you kind of think, blooming heck, there's 3 from just 1 year there that have gone on to kind of do stuff and have reasonable careers, I suppose.
Yeah, Fleabag and Stafflet's Flats from Jamie, for instance.
Yeah. Incredible. So maybe it's a case of just Shane talking out of his bottom again.
Right, so we turn to Motherland, and we turn to the eternal question, which I've managed to smuggle in frequently to the Comedy Slab, which is to ask the Shanester. We take it in turns to set each other homework, so alternate weeks. But to smuggle in the question, how did you feel when I set you the homework?
Well, I said to you last week, I said the funny story. I've got a funny story to tell you about Motherland.
Oh yeah, do tell.
Which is, and this should answer your question as well about how I felt about sitting down to watch it. Is that only I think probably 4 days before you decided to set it at homework, I'd had a conversation with her indoors, Mrs. O'Connor. And said, I think I found something that we might like to sit down and watch together, because it's a bit hit and miss with comedy. I think I've mentioned this before. We don't have the same comedic tastes. Although I find my changing since we've had children, and I'm mellowing to both Mr. Bean and Last of the Summer Wine. So who knew that had happened? But
no, didn't see that.
And she said, all right. She said, what is that? And I said, oh, it's a thing called Motherland. And we watched episode 1. About 2 days before you set it as homework. I didn't say last week.
Yeah, you get that very quiet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask your view of it now, because we have 2 audio clips, and I'm going to ask you for your headline, as we usually do, after the first of those in just a mo, after I've set the scene. But I can ask what your wife made of it, can I not? The lovely Angelina Ballerina.
She really enjoyed it. The daft bat.
Oh, that means you won't then. I don't answer that. I nearly tricked you, didn't I?
I was saying no more than that. I was saying she really enjoyed it. The daft bat.
Well, daft bat, if we're to take it at face value, is a clue. But I know you, and you spray lots of what's it called? The stuff that confuses missiles.
Spit.
Chaff. Chaff. Chiff chaff.
Chiff chaff. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So I will set the scene. Motherland, if I have a worry about this, especially as regards the Shanester, it is that it could feel like it's concentrated in the very precious, very bourgeois square mile of northwest London. Actually, it turns out it's filmed in Chiswick area, and the school is at Bedford Park, if anyone knows that. But a very well-heeled part of London. So there is the ever-present danger that Shane might think, oh, well, it hasn't got any relevance more than a mile north of, Alexandra Palace or something. You don't have to comment on that. You looked as though you might want to say something.
No, well, I was going to say sometimes you can get away with it. And the other example I thought of, which was very London-centric and set in that kind of environment, was Lead Balloon, if you remember, had that kind of feel to it, but kind of got away with it. And I think it depends. Do you know, I think if you stay away from public transport, for example, because obviously, apart from Glasgow and
Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah, we haven't got undergrounds. We haven't got, below ground trains in most areas.
Isn't part of the Birmingham network.
Well, it didn't start out like that. It was a tramway they were building, but it sunk because they didn't put the proper foundations in. We don't like to talk about it. Why did you have to bring that up again?
Very Brume.
Yeah. You've built that in a blooming hole, Sid. What you done? And I think if you stay away from like landmarks that make it London, I didn't pick up that vibe at all, actually, because I didn't think,
okay. You're giving too much away before we even play the clip. Yeah, okay.
I mean, could have been, I guess, anywhere in the home counties, maybe. Let's not stretch it and say it could have been anywhere in the country.
Let's set the scene. So, as I say, sort of shot around Chiswick, which is West London, where the A4 sort of starts. It's a bunch of yummy mummies, but we soon realise that actually, yummy though they may be, the stilettos are very much out and could skewer any of them at any time. And then on top of which, I confess, I chose this show not for the yummy mummies, as you might think, but because the thumbnail for this episode, Series 1, Episode 2, was of the one male who's in the group, who I find, for me, steals the show, which is not meant to be any put down of the others. Anyway, so we join the group here discussing. This is the planning ahead of the fundraise, and it's all to get musical instruments for the kids. And our male friend, who is the character name is Kevin. Now, I wonder if Shane can help me here. I'm guessing the actor's name is pronounced. His surname is Reedy rather than Reddy, which is what it looks like. Paul Reedy, do you think?
I would have said that as well. Ready, yeah.
Okay, Respect, indeed, for you knowing that. Anyway, so we're joining him when he's got the most brilliant creative idea for a little bit of fundraising.
I like to take this opportunity to be a little bit creative, think a little bit outside the box, as it were. Last year, I was Nibbles King. Do you remember? I had all the bags of crisps and nuts pinned to me. That was fun, wasn't it? But I thought this year I'd go one better. Human cloakroom. So everyone puts their coats on me instead of hanging them up in the cloakroom. I wear everyone's coats. What a sight. And then when everyone's ready to go, the cloakroom comes to them. Let's say we charge a pound a coat.
Well, why don't we just charge £1 a coat in the cloakroom?
Why? My God, Amanda, why are there rainbows? Why is there Ant and Dec? Because it's fun. It's fun. Goodness. Well, I'm gonna do it anyway. So set up a normal cloakroom if you want, but it's gonna have stiff competition from the human cloakroom. Let the battle of the cloakrooms commence.
Well, you actually chose my least favourite character to start off your clip fest.
Excellent.
But do you want a headline before we go any further into that?
Of course I do, and I feel sure you're going to oblige.
Okay, my headline still is.
Oh no.
Motherland's in the right spot.
Motherland. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Not bad.
It took me 3 weeks to think of that one.
And I only said it a week ago.
Exactly.
Well, that's good news. People who were listening last week, or indeed a couple of weeks ago, will know the nervousness I had around setting any homework ever again, really, after, I don't really want to go through that any more than you want to relive the underground experience in Birmingham. But,
I'm surprised that last week you kind of made some reference to the fact that you thought that I might not have liked it. And I suppose, is that purely on the London-centric thing? Is the fact that it was set in London, and I kind of find that a bit lazy.
I thought you might think it was a bit too right on, female-heavy. That was on the downside, the neurotic side. I think,
and you're right. For me, it can be quite annoying that if it's female-heavy. Gratuitously, for example, if they're trying to I don't know, God knows what they're trying to do these days, but if they're doing it on purpose in that sense. But I didn't feel like any of the women that were in there didn't have a strong identifiable character and weren't funny in their own way. And that's why I said that he was and it really annoyed me. And I tell you why it annoyed me even more so was Paul Reedy, obviously a very accomplished actor. If you look at his resume, he's not been, working in McDonald's waiting for a job to come along.
No.
But, and if I watched the pilot on you, there's a clip of the pilot on YouTube of this show. And I looked at that, and he plays it much more manly. I don't know why why does he have to be a simp? Why does he have to be, completely wishy-washy and wet and pathetic?
Well, that would be interesting. I don't have a definitive answer. I'd like to see that pilot clip. But, there's so many factors in TV, aren't there? It could be the director, it could be the writer, or a combination of the two, or very often they can be the same person. But it can come from so many different directions. And one can only assume if if there was a conscious gear change from the pilot, clearly there was some kind of, one assumes, a consensus that it was stronger to do it that way. It's obviously worked for me. It's obviously gone in the wrong direction for you, it seems.
Well, it was just like if you reverse the roles on this, if you filled it full of men and then put one woman in who was a bimbo airhead, you'd go, oh God, the stereotyping. Why have you had to do that? And I kind of think, where are the dissenting voices that say, come on, if these are the rules that we're playing by, then these are the rules that we're playing by. And it's like you were saying, you said a moment ago about, people will probably criticise you because it's all women. Well, it's okay, isn't it? Isn't it okay to, if people don't look exactly the same as you, it's okay not to identify them with them and not like it, because it works the other way around. If it's a race thing where it's full of white people, then black people can say, well, I didn't identify because they don't look like me. Women can say, well, it was full of men, so if I don't identify because they don't look like me. So surely you're able to say as a man now, well, I don't, it's full of women, I don't identify with it. It has to work all ways round and all ways up, doesn't it, surely?
That to me is a side issue in a way, because surely you can find someone or something funny that is way outside of your experience.
Yeah, I can, but that's the argument, isn't it? This is why we want to get rid of white men off the TV but because people don't identify with them.
It's all overblown, I think. There is, I don't believe there's any campaign to get rid of all white people, blokes off the box. It would never succeed anyway. We've drifted slightly from Kevin himself. I mean, I see. It sounded like this might be a misrepresentation of what you're saying, but was your principal concern that you couldn't identify with Kevin, or that was it even offensive to you that he would be that sort of a bloke?
It was offensive to me, only in as much as I'm playing the game of being offended, like people are on the polar opposite of what I'm saying. So, I mean, in real terms, if it's that offensive, I'll switch the blooming thing off. Do you know what I mean? I won't. I'm not a Mary Whitehouse character. What got me a bit was the stereotyping and the fact that, he had to be a wet lettuce because he's staying at home looking after his children. Well, I'm staying at home looking after my children. So, if anyone wants to accuse me of being a wet lettuce, then, I'll see you in the celery aisle at Tesco's. Do you know what I mean? I do find that a little bit pathetic, really, and I just wonder why they can. Because having seen the pilot and seen him play it as a normal guy, I kind of thought, well, who stepped in and said that? And was it Sharon Horgan? Was it one of the other writers?
Well, maybe it's because I don't have kids and hence are not caring for kids at home that it didn't cause any offence from that side of it. I mean, he just happens to be one bloke, but I think it's not inevitable he had to be that kind of persona. But I find it, the desperation is funny and also to some extent disturbing. But there's a knife edge, isn't there? And very often that is the case in comedy. It teeters on the edge of, this is a really tragic figure.
The bottom line is that it is funny. So, as you say, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing about, well, have we got the right diversity level, or whatever? Doesn't matter. Is it funny? And that's what audiences care about. And I think this is why it is successful and will be successful, is because it is funny, isn't it? I mean, the plot was great.
Yeah,
the jokes are aplenty.
Yes, and since you mentioned Sharon Horgan's company, let's give the production company credits before the Silks catch up with us. So Merman is her company. There was a joint credit as executive producer on that side, on the Merman side, for Sharon Horgan, and also, is it pronounced Clelia Mountford? Is that an Irish name? Or Clelia?
It's like Celia with an extra L, isn't it? I've never come across that.
Yeah, I did a
before.
double take.
I assume it's an Irish thing. It's Clelia. It could be. I don't know.
And then the other production company, Delightful Industries, with their delightful name. And we haven't mentioned him so far, but we should give a big shout out, as I believe the youngsters say these days on Radio 2 in their 50s, for Graham Linehan, who, of course, has got a marvellous comedy pedigree as long as your arm. And co-credit, again, executive producer to Helen Linehan. If I've got the right Helen, they were man and wife, but I believe they're separated, if I've got that right.
Oh, I don't
know.
I know she's Helen Serafinovitz, isn't she? She's
right. Yes, I think they're separated now. But
she's
clearly working together.
Peter Serafinovitz's sister.
Yes.
So she comes from a good pedigree in that sense. She's also one of the writers as well, isn't she? So.
Yes, there's quite a few writing credits. Maybe I didn't finish this list in my excitement, but Sharon and Graham, at least, because we're on first name terms, get credit for this particular episode. But there's all kinds of co-creation and co-writing going on.
Casting wise, I mean, I don't know who it was that said let's get Anna Maxwell Martin in and put her in the lead.
Is it the lead necessarily? Just pausing you there.
I would have. I mean, I came away from it after 2 episodes. In fairness, that's the sum total of my experience of this thing. But yeah, I came away thinking it was the lead. Did you not? You didn't think so?
I didn't feel she was being really spotlighted. But now you say, if you asked me and twisted my arm up my back and said if I had to pick one of them as being a lead. But it does feel like an ensemble piece. Anyway, sorry, finish the point. I dove in too quickly.
I mean, she, as I understand it, isn't she? Her body of work mainly is she's a straight actress, is she? She's done smattering of comedy.
It's that way round. I understand it as yes, although she's clearly proving her mettle in the comedy field.
I mean, whoever it was that decided to cast her, if they've got a medal drawer in their office, they need to reach in and give themselves one, don't they? Because I think, I mean, she is just so bang on. I mean, in terms of believability, timing, pace, comedic intuition. I mean, you can see. I mean, I presume that they did a casting and saw her and thought, "Wait a minute, this is the woman for us." I mean, she seems to have the lot, doesn't she?
Yes. If I have a hesitation, it's not so much my view, but someone who I cannot mention for legal reasons and reasons of repetition, who thinks it might just be a bit too large. But clearly for you, her performance is not too large, from what you're saying.
I thought it was the other way, actually. How weird is that two people, two people can watch the same thing and come away with like polar opposites? But yeah, I thought I mean, the situations are quite farce style, aren't they? And quite sort of, as you say, sweaty and dashing about and getting drunk and that kind of thing. So I think it's difficult not to portray the farce side of it. But I thought she was quite understated. What did you think? Did you? I mean, do you have to pick a side?
That's a good question. Yeah, I do. I think I'm more on your side than on the other side. And we should say that people may know her from Line of Duty, where she has got quite a bit of experience. But I don't have that experience watching it, so I don't push me on detail.
Normally, I've never watched it now. So I mean, I saw that and saw that she'd done it, but no, similar kind of thing. Diane Morgan, I've got to mention because I'll be honest with you. I mean, I kind of thought. I mean, the main thing that people had seen her for a long period of time was Philomena Kunk on Charlie Brooker's series of programs, and then she did a program as Philomena Kunk over Britain, wasn't it? I think, and then Kunk something else. I can't remember what else the other one was. And I kind of thought that was a one-trick pony and had been done extensively. And to see her I mean, I have to say that Mandy that we slabbed recently made me see her in a different light again, doing character comedy. And then this, I just thought, knocked it out of the park for me. She did.
By the way, thank you for feeding me the information I should have shared with our audience before that she's from Bolton. I might have thought it was round there, but if you confuse Blackburn with Bolton, you alienate too many people. So thank you for the research. For some reason, it's just one of those irrational things. I don't know what it is, but I don't warm to her characters, and the conch thing didn't do it for me. And I can see I have enough altitude to see that she's a very talented actor. So I'm hoping I can eventually get past whatever completely irrational struggles I have. And she certainly was different again. You know, when you saw her, I was going to say wheeling children, but the children were out of shot, probably because it's easier to film without kids. We saw some children at the school gate and so on, but the way she moved and hair slightly different, you know, the whole bearing was different to what I'd seen previously. So she's clearly got the acting chops. So I really need to get on the case there. And you've made no mention of Caroline Lacey, who her only crime is to spell Lacey without an E, which I'll just have to forgive. But she's played by Kirsty Bushell. I'm not clear. I got the feeling she might just be in this episode, but I haven't seen enough to know, or whether she's just introduced and then staying in the show.
I didn't see her on the other credits, so I'm not really quite sure whether it was just an episodic thing rather than a serious thing. I'll tell you who I wanted to mention. I don't know if you picked up on it. The character called Anne, the Irish woman.
With she always looks surprised with her eyes.
Did you recognise her from something we've slabbed?
Oh gosh, it wouldn't be something like. Is it too obvious to say Derry Girls or something like that?
Well, you're on the right. You're on the right theme. But no,
those two guys in Ireland. What was that?
She was. Oh yeah. What was that? Oh, that one.
Oh, Reuben.
Reuben's it's a boy's name. Young Offenders, that wasn't it? That were Young Offenders. No, Philippa Dunn, who plays Anne in this, was actually the mother in The Walshes.
Oh wow, gosh! Well, that is going back quite a way.
We only mentioned it. We only mentioned it a couple of episodes, or this episode.
We did. But I haven't actually seen her for ages. Oh well spotted. She's certainly. I mean, to the extent that she's given enough room to show that she's got potential to take on heavier stuff. It's all there. If I had to use a film title to describe the whole thing, I might choose Women on the Edge of a Nervous Breakdown, because that's how it feels, isn't it? They're all on the edge. One person we haven't mentioned, we must hear now in audio clip number 2 from Motherland, Series 1, Episode 2. And this is Lucy Punch. I'm going to ask you more on how you feel about this character and the character being called Amanda. And we're actually at the fundraiser now, and Amanda has taken it on herself to be the presenter, the hostess of the evening. Whether she's the hostess with the mostess, you'll have to decide, dear listener. She's very tall and quite imposing physically, and wearing a not very tall dress. So she kind of uses her physicality there. So you have to imagine that bit, as we don't have the visuals. But here she is deciding. She's been leading up to this. She's on the mic, and she's been auctioning promises from people. There's been inspiration from Hollywood previously, which came via the Julia character at the outset. You should know in advance that Uma Thurman apparently auctioned a kiss from her good self and raised $200,000. So compare and or contrast with this.
This is my one. I can't believe I did this. Anyway, bit of fun. I auction a kiss. That's right. A kiss to the highest bidder. Should we start the bidding at £50? Who wants a kiss for £50? Anyone? A kiss from a lady? Oh, come on, don't be shy. This is for charity. Anyone? Any bids?
50 pence.
Thanks, Liz. Any raise on 50 pence? Come on, everyone. This is for children, for the music block. We can get those keyboards. We're so close. Come on. Anyone?
£1. No one raised it.
Oh.
50 pence still.
So 50 pence still 50 pence.
I love the way that concluded. I won't ruin it for anybody who wants to watch the episode, but I thought that was really clever, the way that whole scene played out right the way through to the end. Do you know, she put me in mind of somebody instantly on that particular scene. I hadn't picked it up previously, but I thought, oh yeah, I could see her actually playing the role instead of Lucy Punch if they hadn't cast Lucy Punch. Not that I'm saying that she doesn't play it very well. But do you see the Julia Davis in her character?
Sort of generic Julia Davis, dark character.
Yeah, that kind
I hadn't thought that, to be honest.
The kind of from Nighty Night and what was the other one? What's It Forever? What was the Sally Forever?
Sally Forever.
Which are kind of very similar kind of works. But yeah, I just thought, I could see a Julia Davis doing that. I mean, Lucy Punch, I don't know. I mean, I teetered between, is she overdoing it or not? Just when I kind of thought, oh, she is now. And I thought, oh, no, hang on a second. And she'd kind of rein it back in. So she's a bit like a cat with a mouse with the role, I thought. But I liked her. I mean, I thought she was, I mean, her star is rising. She's just got another series, Bloods, I think, on, I don't know if it's Amazon or Apple TV or something. I can't remember what it is. Could be Sky for all
Begins with A anyway.
Oh. Could be Sky actually.
Or S.
Yeah. But
or
about,
ATV.
About paramedics, and so she's starring in that. So I think she's starting to get more and more roles off the back of what she's doing. Go on. What did you not like?
Well, I was just. I'm very slow, obviously, but I just like the fact it's implied. I mean, you get the sense she's an alpha female or very, very self-confident, but actually it's in the writing. And I've viewed the show twice, of course. Had to choose the clips, which I've heard at least twice each. And it took that playing for me to pick up on her saying, don't be shy. That's what she's telling herself. It's not that they don't want the kiss. She's so attractive, it doesn't occur to her that it would be anything to do with her, and that no one actually wants to kiss her. Although one bloke raises his hand, but his partner with him pushes it back down again. Yes, that was unwise politically. So she's got at least one fan out there, but two or however many. But anyway. I believed it. I thought it was very strident. I want to use the word strident because she's got huge legs, long legs, lovely legs. And she uses them. I'm turning into a ZZ Top lyric if I'm not careful.
Yeah,
anyway,
I'm glad you corrected it and said long legs, because if you ever try and chat up a woman and say, oh, you've got huge legs.
You can see why I get many slaps in the face, not least from my current girlfriend. What am I doing chatting up other women?
You've got huge legs. How'd you get your trousers on?
They meet at infinity as well, but we'll move swiftly on from that. It must be time to score the show out of 5 each. Whose turn do you think it is?
It's probably mine, in all fairness. I am an officer and a gentleman. So, can I just a big shout out for the music? I love the music.
Oh yes, a brass band.
But you know who it was? It was Ollie Julian, who we mentioned. I think when we slabbed back with Mitchell and Webb. He did the music to that. In fact, he's done the music to Back, This Country, Breeders, Catastrophe. So he's worked with Sharon Horgan before. Code 404, Plebs. I mean, I think he's from Sheffield. I think he's Sheffield based. So, but he writes really quirky stuff, and I love his music. I think he's a really talented guy. So I really like that one. Numbers then from me. I'm going to give it a 4.
Oh,
and I tell you why
I
give it a 4 is because I've got the distinct impression that a lot of the comedy. Oh, sorry, I just hit myself in the face. Not hard enough, some would argue.
Saves me doing it.
Yeah. I got the impression that a lot of the comedy came out of reality. I think it was anecdotal stuff. I think that there's people in there who are parents who have written this, and I think that's why it's so believable. I think that's why it's so funny. It's been cast brilliantly and paced brilliantly, and I think it's a great bit of work. And we both enjoyed it. It was nice when you can sit down with her indoors and sit and watch something and come away and you both enjoy it. So I think a win-win there. 4 out of 5 for me.
Okay, I'm not far behind. I'm going for a classic 3.5 out of 5. So quality piece of work. Didn't quite give me the giggle factor that perhaps seemed to work with you, but not far off. And very definitely high production values, all the things we've said, and great strong performances. And I loved the human cloakroom, which I just think that's a beautiful little creative conceit by whoever came up with that, and beautifully executed and followed through to its logical conclusion or illogical conclusion. We'll leave you to enjoy that for yourself. Series 1, Episode 2 of Motherland. And you'll find that as we speak, at least, but not for much longer, on BBC iPlayer. And if there are any other places, I may have even seen a reference to Prime Video the other day, but that's off the top of my head. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But his nibs will write the blurb and put any other places you may be able to find Motherland. So to next week's homework for me and our adoring fans.
This originally was a radio comedy, Radio 4, and transferred to TV and became even more successful. The people who made it they were a group of 4 originally, the writers. 3 of them you only saw on screen, and they have since gone their separate ways. Well, 2 of them are still writing.
Can I dive in there?
Go on.
The clue is one writer who never appeared. Is it League of Gentlemen?
It is indeed the League of Gentlemen. I thought we would have a trip to Royston Vasey. And
I would love to see Royston's Vases.
And
or
of
the
course,
other way around.
Obviously, next week's podcast will be a local podcast for local people.
Yes.
I thought I'd dive in kind of right at the start. Well, not right at the start, but near the start, near where it all began. So for the purists, I suppose it's where the stuff the material that are transferred from radio hits TV, and we could have a look at that. It's the League of Gentlemen Series 1. And I've got to
scribble this down.
I've gone for episode 5.
Oh, sorry. Are we going with the telly?
The TV. This is the TV. Well, because the radio one was called On the Town with the League of Gentlemen. I mean,
I look silly?
Not a lot of people know that.
No.
But it's episode 5 from series 1, and the episode is entitled "Love Comes to Royston Vasey."
What an enticing title.
What a thought.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, I look forward to that. It's amazing we've got to episode, what will be 149 of the Comedy Slab, and only just reached our first episode of League of Gentlemen. All of which means next week I'll have to be thinking about something somewhat special, hopefully, for episode 150, but we'll worry about that when we get there. Lovely. Okay, on anti-social media, we are somewhat inevitably at Comedy Slab. Do please follow us on Twitter if you're not doing so already. It'd be lovely to have your custom. And also, we are likewise at Comedy Slab. There's a Facebook page if you could like that, as well as following us on Twitter. That would be brilliant. In person, if you're allowed to meet up with people in person in these troubled times, or through the Zoom screen, any recommendation of the Comedy Slab to other people to widen the net would be fantastic. And I sat next to someone in a pub the other night, or outside, I should say, although we could have legitimately sat inside. He said, covering his back always. But we were... Anyway, he said, I must listen out to your podcast. What is it? The Comedy Slap. So I thought, well, we're a couple of slapheads. It's close enough. And he found us in the end, so that'll do. Whatever you call it, as long as they can find it, that's the main thing. And then finally, a generous star rating on Apple Podcast / iTunes. That would be lovely too, with some comments. That would be nice as well. Thank you very much.
What have we become? This is our life now, isn't it? Not only have we got to go out to the shops with a mask on as well, but then when we're talking to people, in case the thought police catch us, we've got to go. Well, I was in the pub the other day. Well, of course, outside. Obviously, when I say outside, I was sat in the car, but obviously I hadn't got my car keys in case the police came in and tried to do me the drink driving. Oh man, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, but so that's it from us. Thank you very much. Obviously, on next week's Comedy Slab podcast, I'll have changed my character. in line with because I've obviously been a stay-at-home dad. I'm going to talk like that and go, "Hello, Adrian. It's a Comedy Slab podcast. Oh, I don't know whether. Oh, should I go over? I don't know whether I should, or maybe not."
That was just like, for me, looking in a mirror. So I'm going to go off and be I nearly said the human dustbin. I'm already that, I suppose. But put any plate of food in front of me, I'll eat it, whatever state of decay. But also I'm going to have a go at being a human cloakroom. I might get terribly sweaty, but we never know. We'll see. See you next week.